All right, let's talk about this. Because honestly, the more I dig into this Mitchell Robinson situation, the more frustrated I get as a Knicks fan. And I need you to stick with me on this one, because there's a bigger story here than just we lost a center. Before I get into it, hit that like button right now if you're a diehard Knicks fan who's tired of watching this front office play checkers while everyone else plays chess. And drop a comment below telling me if you think Leon Rose is actually building something here or just stalling. So here's the deal. The Knicks let Mitchell Robinson walk. Boston scooped him up on a 3-year, $47 million deal. And look, I get it. Nobody wants to hand out max money to a center who's been in and out of the trainer's room more than he's been on the court. But here's what really gets me heated. This wasn't just about losing Mitch. This was about the Knicks drawing a hard line in the sand and telling the entire league, loud and clear, we will not go over that second tax apron. And guess what? Every single front office in this league was listening. Think about that for a second. In a league where information is currency, the Knicks basically handed their hand of cards face up to 29 other teams. You want leverage in a negotiation? You don't announce your limits before you even sit down at the table. But that's exactly what happened here. And now we're paying for it literally and figuratively. Because here's the kicker. Right around the time Robinson signed with Boston, Ariel Hukporti also walked straight to a division rival, the Philadelphia 76ers. So now the Knicks are sitting there with a gutted center rotation, and the front office knows it, and worse, the rest of the NBA knows it too. That's the part that really stings. It's not just poor asset management. It's poor negotiating position. When your opponents know you're desperate and know you're capped out, they don't need to give you a discount. They can just say no, and that brings us to Yves Missi. Now, if you don't know the name, Missi's been quietly turning into one of the better young big men in this league playing for New Orleans. Multiple reports came out saying the Knicks were pushing hard. Fervently is the word that got used, trying to pry him away from the Pelicans. And what happened? New Orleans shut it down. Not once, multiple times. They basically laughed the Knicks out of the room. Now ask yourself why. Is it because Missi isn't available at all? Or is it because the Pelicans know exactly what cards the Knicks are holding, and they know New York has zero flexibility to make a real offer? I think it's the second one. And that's exactly why announcing we're not crossing that apron was such a self-inflicted wound. You don't get good outcomes in negotiations when the other side already knows you're boxed in before the conversation even starts. If this is frustrating you as much as it's frustrating me, smash that like button and let me know in the comments. Would you rather the Knicks had just paid Mitchell Robinson and kept the leverage, or do you actually agree with staying under the tax line no matter what? Now, let's talk about where this leaves the roster right now. Yes, the Knicks did bring in Andre Drummond, and okay, that's fine, that's a depth move. Nothing wrong with adding a physical rebounder behind Karl Anthony Towns. But think about it. That gives you exactly 2 real centers. 2. That's it. Robinson's gone. Hukporti's gone to a rival. And your fallback option behind Drummond and Towns is a 2-way contract player in Trey Jemison III. I'm sorry, but that is not a real NBA center rotation. That is a prayer and a roster spot. So now you've got reporting that the Knicks are sniffing around Jonas Valanciunas, who's coming off Denver. And look, I respect JV, he's had a solid career. But let's be real about what you're getting defensively at this stage. The advanced numbers have him ranked in the bottom quarter of the league defensively this past season. That's not a rim protector. That's a body. And if the Knicks are seriously considering him as their third big, after everything that's happened this offseason, that tells you just how thin this front office let the center depth get. And it's not like there weren't other names sitting right there either. Kevin Looney, who also played for New Orleans, actually graded out defensively better than Drummond this year. But Looney only played 21 total games because of injury problems, and by the numbers he was tied to a losing team down there, so it's hard to fully trust that impact. Still, mobility concerns and knee issues aside, at least the conversation should have been on the table. Bottom line, the Knicks still need a legitimate third big man on this roster, and right now they don't have one. There's been talk from insiders that the front office might try to bring in a few camp bodies on non-guaranteed Exhibit 9 deals, just like they did last summer with a few depth guys who ended up sticking around training camp. That's not a plan. That's a backup plan for a backup plan. And that's really what bothers me the most about all of this. It's not that Mitchell Robinson left. Players leave. It's not even that they missed out on Eve Missy. Sometimes a team just says no. It's that the Knicks put themselves in this position by broadcasting their financial restrictions to the entire league before they even tried to negotiate. That's not discipline. That's giving away leverage for free. And now here we are, scrambling for a third center in July, hoping a depth signing or a training camp invite fixes a hole that didn't have to exist. So I want to hear from you. Do you think the front office made the right call holding the tax line, even if it cost them Mitchell Robinson, Ariel Hikporti, and a real shot at Eve Missy? Or do you think this is exactly the kind of short-sighted, penny-pinching approach that's kept this franchise chasing its tail for years? Drop your take in the comments. I read every single one of them. And if you've made it this far in the video, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already part of this channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update the second something breaks on this end of situation. Because trust me, with this front office, something always breaks. Let's see how they clean this mess up. See you in the next one.